Hey crew, how you doing? Welcome back to a brand new episode here in the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. I have a quick one for you today. I'll be doing more of these one-offs. To be honest with you, the reason I haven't been doing a lot of these has been due to fear and fear of actually getting on this mic by myself and not having a guest. But I recognize that I have a lot that I want to be sharing that I'm not. So here I am kicking off again a solo episode that will be happening more and more as I move forward, as I do have, like I said, a lot of things I want to share. And today I wanted to get into something that keeps coming up for me and my clients as I do consulting work that I'm seeing needs more attention in our industry, and that is systems. Now, this all came to me when I was actually listening to another podcast, Tom Papa, and I forget her name. I apologize. Tom Papa is a comedian and he hosts this podcast. The name escapes me right now, but I'll put it in the show notes. And he was hosting Jerry Seinfeld on this podcast. I'm a big Seinfeld fan, if you didn't know. And as I listened to this podcast, about a half hour long, near the end, they started discussing something that I was really surprised by how much it really played into what I do now with my clients, but also really was great information for anyone in our industry as well. And Jerry Seinfeld mentioned something about systems, and he was talking about successful people in the world and how those people that seemingly have natural talents can get by with that, but a lot of the aspects of their lives are a mess. And then you have people that not only have the talent, but also have the systems in place. So their life isn't a mess. Everything has a system. Everything is organized as it can be. And that allows them to truly thrive and move forward. So what I'm recognizing now with my clients and with the industry is that there are so many businesses that are operating day in and day out in a reactive mode, meaning they're not proactive, meaning they don't have systems. They're opening their business, they're opening the door with their key every day and just waiting for business to happen to them as opposed to their systems happening to the business. Everything from hiring and firing to training, retraining, cross-training, ordering, plating, you name it. There's a lack of systems within our industry right now, and I feel like those systems are really separate us, our industry, pardon me, from others, and really separate the successful businesses, successful restaurants in our space from the ones that either are just surviving or the ones that are unfortunately closing down. So if you're out there right now, you're listening to this podcast and you have a restaurant or you have a business or you're an employee at someone's business, I would take a moment to step back and say, how much planning and how many systems do we actually have when it comes to our business? How often are we reacting to things as opposed to, pardon me, being proactive, pardon me. So being reactive as opposed to proactive. I'm having trouble with that right now. So when you do that, when you sit down and you look at, are we actually being proactive or reactive? Just have an honest conversation with yourself and look at your business day in and day out. Now, our industry is a bit different, meaning we do have to allow for some gray area, some space for there to be a reactive aspect to what we do. And that is just the nature of what this industry is. However, what I am trying to implement and what I'm asking for the industry to do as a whole is implement systems so that we can anticipate as much as we possibly can. And a lot of this comes from the coaching that I've had as well in regards to my business. Let's anticipate everything we possibly can. Let's put time and energy in now to setting up systems and anticipating issues so that when they do arise, we have an answer to them or we can answer them as best as possible. But also having an understanding and being open to the fact that things will change and will look different, but being as prepared as we possibly can. So if you're out there right now and you have a restaurant business, pardon me, and it is operating day in and day out, take a look at how you're doing it. And are you being reactive or are you being proactive by setting up systems so that you and your team are successful every single day? Interesting thing about systems are they don't need to show up every day either. Certain systems would show up either weekly or daily. Certain systems could show up monthly, quarterly, annually, biannually, whatever it is. And that's what I've been doing with my clients is recognizing which systems need daily attention and which systems need weekly, monthly, yearly, etc. So really it's not to get bogged down in the minutia of setting up these systems and creating more work for ourselves. If anything, we're doing more work up front to make our work later on a lot easier and a lot more predictable. As mentioned, this industry can be so unpredictable at times, but setting up systems, doing these things will allow for our businesses to be much more predictable. And that certainty creates a sense of calm, creates a sense of security, and allows for us as an industry to operate a little bit differently. So, when Jerry Seinfeld says systems, I want everyone in our industry to listen. Not only is it important in comedy, not only is it important in your life, but it's also important in your restaurant and in your business in general. If you guys are interested in learning more about the systems that I use, shameless plug, I'm hosting a free webinar on the 21st at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, where I'm going to share with everyone who's on the call the systems that I use exactly with my current clients to help them build out their business in a more predictable way. If you guys want to get involved, shoot me a note, or I'll put the link to the webinar in the show notes as well, so you can sign up for that. Seats are limited for that. So please do sign up ASAP and learn the systems that I use with my clients to help them be as successful as they possibly can. That is it. Have an amazing day. I am Brad. This is the Half a Dozen Hospitality Podcast. Thank you guys so much for tuning in as you do week after week. Tune in next week for a brand new episode. And thank you so much for supporting this show. I'm out.